The night on the ruined world was too quiet. No birds, no insects, not even the soft hum of machines. Only silence, broken sometimes by the wind that whistled through shattered stone arches. The human soldier, Captain Daniel Cross, tightened his grip on his rifle. He had been trained to survive in worse places, but tonight felt different. The air carried a weight, almost as if someone unseen was watching him. He stepped carefully over broken tiles, eyes searching the dark corners. The ruins were ancient, older than any human city, yet the marks of war were fresh blackened walls, burned steel, scattered bones. Daniel stopped when he thought he heard something. At first it was so soft he believed it to be the wind. But then it came again, a voice, a whisper. His chest froze. He pointed his rifle into the darkness, finger resting on the trigger. "Who's there?" he called, his voice steady, though his heart pounded. No answer. Only silence. He moved forward, slowly, his boots crunching on broken stone. Then, again clearer this time, a woman's voice, soft and trembling. "I'm not pure." Daniel's pulse jumped. His training screamed trap, enemy trick, a lure to pull him into the shadows. He tightened his jaw. But there was something in that whisper, something fragile and desperate. Not the tone of a soldier setting a trap, more like someone confessing their last breath. He followed the sound, rifle raised. His flashlight cut through the dust, revealing broken columns and a collapsed roof. In the corner of the rubble, he saw her. An alien. She sat against the cold stone wall, her body half hidden by torn cloth. Her skin was pale with a faint shimmer, as if lit from within. Strange markings ran across her arms, glowing faintly like silver fire under her skin. Her hair fell across her face, hiding her eyes, but he could see the tremble in her hands. Daniel's finger brushed the trigger, his training telling him to shoot before she could move. But he didn't. Her lips moved again. The same words, but weaker. "I'm not pure." For a moment, Daniel forgot the battlefield, forgot the rules drilled into him. Those words pulled him closer, though every step screamed danger. He lowered his rifle just enough to see her clearly. Her cloth robe was torn, hanging loose at the shoulder. He noticed the way she held it tightly against her chest, as if hiding something beneath. The faint glow from her skin made the fabric seem even more fragile, as if it would slip at any second. Daniel cleared his throat. "What do you mean?" he asked, his voice softer this time. The alien flinched, her body stiffening like a frightened animal. Slowly she raised her head. Their eyes met. Her eyes were not like any he had seen before, silver irises with a faint ring of blue fire. They seemed to pierce right through him, and for a brief second, Daniel felt his breath catch. His rifle lowered another inch, almost without his control. "You shouldn't be here," she whispered, her voice shaking. "If they find me, they'll kill you too." Daniel frowned. "Who?" Her lips pressed shut. She shook her head, as if even naming them was too dangerous. The trembling in her hands grew worse, and the cloth she clutched slipped just slightly. For the smallest moment, he saw what lay beneath another mark, glowing brighter, across her collarbone. It pulsed like a living flame, as if alive under her skin. His world stopped for that second. Not because of the glow, but because of what it meant. He had seen something like this once before, classified files, secret experiments mixing alien DNA with human blood. Impossible forbiddens. The galaxy called them abominations. And yet here she was. Daniel's heart raced. If Command knew she was here, she would be executed without question. He should call it in, report her. That was his duty. But standing there, under her silver gaze, he couldn't move. Couldn't breathe. The silence grew heavy around them. Only the sound of her shallow breathing filled the space. Finally, Daniel lowered his weapon completely. He crouched a few steps closer, careful not to scare her. "You're hurt," he said firmly. "Let me help." Her reaction was quick. She pressed back against the wall, clutching the cloth tighter. "No, you don't understand." Her voice broke. "I can't be touched. Not by you, not by anyone." Daniel narrowed his eyes. "Then why call to me?" For the first time, her lips curved into something almost like a broken smile. "Because I didn't want to die alone." The words struck deeper than any bullet. His chest tightened, a strange ache rising inside him. Before he could speak, the night air shifted. Voices echoed in the distance, sharp, metallic, the sound of an enemy patrol. Her eyes widened in fear. She pushed herself up on trembling legs, but she stumbled and nearly fell. Daniel caught her instinctively, one hand gripping her arm. The moment his skin touched hers, he felt it heat, a pulse of energy rushing through his veins like fire. His vision blurred for a heartbeat, and her body tensed violently as if his touch burned her. She gasped, looking up at him with wide, frightened eyes. "You shouldn't have done that." Before Daniel could answer, the voices drew nearer. The glow under her skin grew stronger, reacting to his touch. The cloth slipped further down her shoulder, and the silver flames beneath her skin shone. In the dark, Daniel stared, unable to look away. His world had truly stopped. The whispers of the enemy patrol closed in, but he could only hear hers soft, trembling, breaking in his arms. "I'm not pure." And for the first time, Daniel wasn't sure if he was afraid or if he was already lost. Asterisk. The ruins seemed to breathe with danger. Daniel pressed his back against the broken wall, keeping the alien woman close, hidden from the patrol. The glow under her skin pulsed faintly, and he realized that every second he stayed with her, he was sinking deeper into something far more dangerous than enemy guns. Her body trembled against him. She clutched the torn cloth tighter, but the faint shimmer of light escaped no matter how much she tried to hide it. Daniel's soldier instincts screamed at him, "This is wrong. This is a trap. Stay away." But his heart was louder now, whispering a different truth. The patrol voices passed nearby. The sound of boots on stone echoed in the night. Daniel held his breath, one hand still on the alien's arm. Her eyes closed as if she was fighting something inside her, as if touching him had awoken something she could not control. The patrol moved further into the ruins. For now, they were safe. Daniel finally spoke in a low voice. "What are you hiding?" Her silver eyes opened again, staring into his. "You don't want to know. Try me." She swallowed hard. Slowly, with trembling fingers, she loosened the cloth just a little, not fully, only enough to reveal the side of her shoulder. The glowing mark stretched from her collarbone, branching down her chest like veins of living fire. Daniel's eyes widened. "That's human." The alien flinched, shaking her head. "Not fully, not anymore. I was made this way, forced." He remembered the classified files, the rumors whispered among soldiers, late-at-night experiments, mixing human DNA with alien hosts, trying to build the perfect weapon. Every record ended the same, the subjects destroyed, erased as if they never existed. But one survived. Standing before him now, Daniel whispered, "You're half." Her lips trembled. "Impure. That's what they call me. That's why they hunt me." The words hung heavy between them. The glow beneath her skin seemed to react to her emotions, flickering like fire in a storm. Daniel reached out instinctively, but she recoiled, pressing back against the wall. "No," she said firmly, though her voice shook. "Don't touch me again. My blood is poison to yours. It will kill you." Daniel raised his hand slowly, showing he meant no harm. "You're still alive, so maybe your blood isn't poison. Maybe that's just what they told you to keep you afraid." Her silver eyes glistened with pain. "You don't understand. When your skin touched mine, I felt it." The mark reacted. "It woke up," Daniel frowned. "Woke up?" She pulled the cloth closer again, covering the mark. "It was dormant. As long as I stayed hidden, it slept. But your touch," she looked away, ashamed. It woke something I can't control. If it grows stronger, they'll find me. They'll find us both." For a moment, Daniel was silent. His soldier's brain calculated options: call command, walk away, or protect her. Each path meant betrayal to something: his duty, his survival, or his own heart. Finally, he said quietly, "Then I'll make sure they don't find you." The alien's breath caught. She shook her head in disbelief. "Why? You don't even know my name." "Names don't matter," Daniel said. "I just know you're not my enemy, and I don't leave people behind." The words seemed to strike her harder than any weapon. Her silver eyes softened for a moment, and her lips parted, as if to speak, but then, the night was broken again. The patrol had returned. This time closer. Daniel could hear the sharp metallic click of rifles being loaded. The alien stiffened. "They've tracked me. The mark is calling to them. We have to move." Daniel nodded, grabbing her hand before she could protest. Then, "Let's move." Her skin burned against his palm, but he didn't let go. He pulled her through the broken archways, leading her into the deeper shadows of the ruins. Her steps were weak, unsteady, but she followed. They slipped into a collapsed hallway, the smell of dust and ash thick in the air. Enemy voices echoed behind them, growing louder. Daniel pressed her against the wall, holding a finger to his lips. She froze, her breath shallow, her silver eyes glowing faintly in the dark. The patrol passed just a few meters away, their lights sweeping across the stones. One beam lingered dangerously close, brushing over Daniel's boot, but moved on. Alien's hand clutched his sleeve, trembling. He could feel her heart racing, or maybe it was his own. Finally, the patrol moved out of sight again. Daniel exhaled slowly. He turned back to her. "We need to get you out of here. Somewhere safe." "There is no safe," she whispered. "Not for me." "There will be," Daniel said firmly. "I'll make sure of it." Her lips parted as if she wanted to believe him, but fear kept her silent. Instead, her eyes drifted down to his hand still holding hers. The glow beneath her skin pulsed in response, brighter than before. Daniel followed her gaze, realizing the mark was alive, reacting to him, to his presence. For the first time, fear crawled into him, not of her, but of what it meant. The mark wasn't just a scar or a symbol. It was something waiting, something that had chosen him the moment their hands touched. The alien's voice broke the silence, trembling and fragile. "If you stay near me, your world will end too." Daniel stared at her, his grip firm on her hand, then let it end. Her silver eyes widened, her breath catching as if no one had ever spoken such words to her before. And as the night closed in, the glow of the hidden mark flared brighter, painting the ruins with ghostly fire. The ruins no longer felt like stone and dust. They felt alive, breathing, watching, hunting. Daniel held the alien woman's hand as they moved through the shadows. Every second, the glow beneath her skin pulsed brighter, as if the mark itself wanted to be found. Behind them, the patrol spread out. Harsh voices echoed in the night, mixed with the metallic hum of scanners. Their boots struck the stone like hammers, each sound chasing Daniel and the alien deeper into the ruins. "Faster," Daniel whispered. She stumbled, her legs trembling. "I can't. My body's too weak." Daniel gritted his teeth. She wasn't built for running, not in this condition. He glanced at her pale face, then without hesitation, scooped her into his arms. She gasped, clutching his shoulder, her eyes wide with fear. "You shouldn't touch me." "I already did." He cut her off, his voice hard but steady. "Now hold on." Her breath shivered against his neck as he carried her through the broken hallway. The ruins twisted into a maze: collapsed arches, cracked statues, piles of rubble. Daniel's boots crunched over stone as the patrol lights flashed closer. Then Dash shouts. They had been spotted. "Human soldier, stop!" Gunfire cracked through the air, bullets sparking off stone walls. Daniel ducked low, his body shielding hers. He sprinted through the ruins, his mind sharp, every muscle burning. The alien buried her face against his chest, whispering in panic, "You'll die for me." "Why?" Daniel didn't answer. He didn't have time. But deep inside, he already knew because walking away would have killed him in a different way. He slid into a narrow passage, bullets ricocheting off the stone behind him. The glow from her mark lit the darkness, guiding his path, but it was a double-edged sword. The brighter it burned, the easier they could track them. They reached an open courtyard, the night sky visible above. The moonlight painted broken towers. In silver, Daniel skidded to a stop. There was no cover, no shadows to hide in. The alien clutched his sleeve, her silver eyes wide with terror. "They'll catch us." Daniel scanned quickly. To the left, a collapsed stairway leading upward. To the right, a tunnel sinking into the ground. Which way? He muttered. Her lips trembled. Up is death, down. Maybe worse. Daniel narrowed his eyes. He hated both choices. But the sound of boots crashing closer forced his decision. He dashed toward the tunnel. The air inside was damp, colder. The walls glistened with strange markings, carved deep and glowing faintly. Almost like her skin, the alien froze when she saw them. "No." She whispered, "Not here. What is this place?" Daniel asked, keeping his rifle ready. Her voice shook. "A temple. My people built it long ago for ones like me." For the marked, the word sent a chill down Daniel's spine. He moved forward, the tunnel winding deeper underground. Behind them, the enemy entered, their lights cutting the dark. The chase grew tighter. The tunnel walls closed in, forcing Daniel to move faster. The alien's breathing grew heavy, her chest rising sharply against his arm. "They won't stop," she said, her voice weak. "They'll chase us until one of us is dead. Then we'll make sure it's them." Daniel replied. She looked at him with disbelief, her eyes shimmering. "Why do you speak like I matter?" Daniel didn't answer. He only pushed forward. Then, suddenly, the tunnel opened into a vast chamber. Stalactites hung from the ceiling, dripping water that echoed like distant drums. In the center of the chamber, a massive stone altar stood, carved with the same glowing runes as her mark. The alien stiffened in his arms. "No, we must leave. This place will awaken it," Daniel frowned. "Awaken what?" Before she could answer, the enemy stormed into the chamber behind them. Rifles raised, lights glaring. Daniel set her down gently. "Stay behind me." She grabbed his wrist, her silver eyes blazing. "If I lose control, run." But Daniel shook his head, stepping in front of her. "Not happening." Gunfire erupted. Bullets tore into the stone, sparks flying. Daniel dropped to one knee, returning fire with sharp, controlled bursts. 2 enemies fell. 3 more moved in, spreading wide. Then it happened. The alien screamed, not in pain, but in something deeper, almost primal. The mark on her chest flared like fire, flooding the chamber with silver light. The enemy froze, shielding their eyes. Daniel turned in shock. Her body glowed like living flame, her hair floating as if pulled by invisible winds. The runes on the altar pulsed in answer, glowing brighter, feeding her. Her voice echoed through the chamber, layered with power. "I told you. I'm not pure." The enemy panicked, shouting orders. Some fired, bullets bouncing off a sudden wave of energy that burst from her skin. Daniel's breath caught. She was no longer weak, no longer trembling. She was something else, something terrifying and beautiful. A living storm wrapped in flesh. The enemies charged, but the ground shook. Cracks ripped through the floor, glowing silver. Energy burst upward, throwing soldiers back like toys. Daniel shielded his face, his heart racing. When the light faded, he saw her standing at the altar, her body burning with power, her silver eyes locked on his, filled with fear and desperation. "I can't stop it. Run!" Daniel shook his head, his voice steady even as the world crumbled. "Around them. Then I'll stop it with you." The glow flared brighter, the temple shaking violently. The chase had ended, but something far more dangerous had begun. The chamber trembled as if the earth itself feared her power. Silver light blazed from the alien woman's skin, painting the stone walls with shifting fire. Daniel shielded his eyes, but he couldn't look away for long. She was no longer just a wounded fugitive. She was something more, something the galaxy was never meant to see. The enemy soldiers had fallen back, shouting into their coms. Some scrambled to retreat, others fired blindly, their bullets useless against the waves of energy bursting from her body. Each glow pulse knocked them further away, shaking dust from the ceiling. Daniel's heart pounded. This wasn't a weapon he could fight with, nor an enemy he could defeat. She was the weapon. Her scream echoed through the chamber, sharp and broken. She clutched her chest where the glowing mark burned brightest, the light spreading across her veins. Her knees buckled, and she collapsed against the altar, her hair spilling like silver fire. Daniel rushed to her side, ignoring the risk. He caught her shoulders, his voice sharp. "Stay with me. Don't give in." Her eyes snapped open, silver flames swirling inside them. "It's too late. You don't understand what I am." "Then tell me," Daniel demanded. Her lips parted, trembling. "I was born in a lab, not as a child, but as an experiment. They took your DNA, human blood, and forced it into mine. I was made to kill both worlds. That's why they call me impure." The words hit Daniel harder than the enemy's bullets. His chest tightened, his grip on her shoulders firm. "You're not impure. You're alive. You're more than what they made you." Tears welled in her glowing eyes, though. The silver light burned through them. "You don't understand. My body is a cage. The mark, it's not just a scar. It's a trigger. If it fully awakens, it won't stop until everything burns. That's why I ran. That's why I whispered to you. I wanted someone to know I wasn't pure." Before the end, Daniel's throat felt dry. The weight of her words pressed into him like iron chains, yet still, he shook his head. "No, you're not a monster. You chose to run. You chose not to kill. That means you're more human than the ones who made you." Her lips trembled into a faint, broken smile. "You sound so certain, soldier." Before Daniel could answer, the enemy regrouped. A commander stepped into the chamber, armored and calm despite the chaos. His voice cut through the dust. "Seize the hybrid. Kill the human." More soldiers poured in, surrounding them. Daniel raised his rifle, planting himself between her and the enemy. "If you want her, you'll have to go through me." The alien woman's hand touched his arm. Her voice shook. "Don't. If they shoot me, the mark will unleash itself. Everyone dies, even you." Daniel's jaw tightened. "Then we make sure they don't shoot," the commander smirked. "Do you even know what you're protecting? That thing beside you is a plague. A mistake. Her touch alone can end your kind." Daniel didn't flinch. "Funny. I thought the same about your kind once, until tonight." The alien woman's silver eyes widened at his words. For the first time, she looked less like a weapon and more like a woman struggling to believe she had worth. The soldiers moved in, weapons raised. Daniel prepared to fire. But then it happened. Her glow surged again, triggered not by pain, but by his words. The chamber filled with blinding silver. The enemy screamed, some thrown back, others collapsing. The commander staggered but stood firm, shielding his eyes. Daniel turned to her. "Stop, you'll kill yourself." She shook her head, tears falling like molten silver. "I can't control it anymore. It's feeding on your presence. You woke it." Daniel's chest tightened. "Then I'll help you control it." Her eyes locked on his, desperate. "No one ever helped me. No one ever tried. They only feared me." "Then let me be the first," he said. gripping her hands firmly. The glow flared, burning against his skin, but Daniel didn't let go. His veins screamed with heat, his vision blurred, but his grip stayed strong. The chamber shook violently, cracks spreading across the altar. The ancient runes flared alive, resonating with her mark. She gasped, her body arching as energy surged through her. Daniel pulled her closer, his voice sharp. "You're not alone. Do you hear me? You're not alone anymore." For a moment, everything froze. The glow steadied, the violent pulses slowing as her silver eyes locked onto his. Her lips parted, trembling. "Why?" she whispered. "Why risk yourself for me?" Daniel's answer was raw, stripped of everything but truth. "Because you're worth it." Her breath caught. The light dimmed slightly, the chaotic storm easing, though the danger wasn't gone. The commander roared an order. "Now!" While "She's weak," soldiers surged forward. Daniel spun, firing in short bursts, dropping 2 before they could close in. But there were too many. The alien woman struggled to rise, her glow flickering. She pressed against his back, whispering, "If I unleash it again, we both die." Daniel reloaded, eyes sharp. "Then we find another way." The soldiers advanced. The chamber thundered with footsteps. And in that moment, standing between death and the woman who called herself impure, Daniel knew this was no longer just survival. This was a revelation, not of what she was, but of what he was willing to become for her. The battle hadn't even begun, yet his choice was already made. The chamber shook under the weight of chaos. Enemy soldiers pressed in from every side, their rifles flashing in the silver storm. Daniel stood firm, firing burst after burst, his back against the glowing alien woman. Her trembling hands clutched, his arm as if his presence alone held back the madness burning inside her. The enemy commander barked orders. "Take her alive. Kill the human." Bullets tore across the altar, sparks flying. Daniel dove behind a cracked pillar, pulling her with him. Dust rained from above, the ceiling groaning under the blasts. He slammed a new magazine into his rifle, his chest heaving. "Can you walk?" he asked quickly. She shook her head, her silver eyes wide. "My body's too weak. The mark drained me." Daniel cursed under his breath. Carrying her meant slowing down, but leaving her wasn't an option. He grabbed her by the waist, hauling her close. "Then I'll carry you." Her lips parted in shock. "You'll never make it. We don't have a choice." He pulled her into his arms again, sprinting toward the far side of the chamber. The enemy opened fire. Bullets whizzed past, some grazing his armor, one cutting across his arm. Pain shot through him, but he kept moving. The woman pressed her forehead against his chest, whispering, "You'll die for me." Daniel gritted his teeth, voice harsh. "Then I'll die moving forward." The ground trembled again. The glowing runes on the altar spread across the chamber walls, cracks lighting up like rivers of fire. Dust poured from the ceiling, and for a moment, even the enemy hesitated, afraid the temple itself might collapse. Daniel used the distraction. He kicked open a side passage and dashed inside, his boots pounding against uneven stone. The tunnel was narrow and dark, lit only by the silver glow still leaking from her skin. Behind them, the commander roared. After them. The chase began. Again, the tunnel twisted downward, the air thick with damp earth and smoke. Daniel's muscles burned as he carried her, but he didn't slow. He could hear the enemy closing in, boots pounding, shouts echoing. "Left," she whispered weakly, her eyes glowing faintly. "There's a way out to the surface, I remember." Daniel turned sharply, nearly slipping on the loose stones. The tunnel widened, leading into another chamber, this one smaller, filled with broken statues of alien figures. Their faces were carved with sorrow, their hands outstretched as if warning him to turn back. The woman stirred in his arms, her voice trembling. "This is a sanctuary for the failed ones." The ones who carried marks before me. They all died here. Daniel's chest tightened, but his steps didn't falter. Then you won't. A blast shook the tunnel behind them. Enemy fire was getting closer. Daniel ducked behind a fallen statue, setting her gently against the wall. He raised his rifle, eyes sharp, ready to fight again. Her hand caught his wrist. No, you can't fight them all. Let me use it. Let me end this. Daniel shook his head fiercely. You said it yourself, you can't control it. If you unleash it, neither of us walks out alive. Her silver eyes filled with pain. Better me than you. Daniel leaned close, his voice low but burning with conviction. Listen to me. I don't care what they made you for. You are not just a weapon. You're alive. And I will not let you throw that away. For a second, silence fell between them, heavy and sharp. Her lips trembled, as if she had never heard such words in her life. Then the enemy stormed into the chamber. Daniel opened fire, dropping 2 immediately. The others fanned out, rifles raised. He reloaded, teeth clenched. His arm throbbed with pain, blood dripping down his sleeve. But he didn't let go of his weapon. The alien woman tried to rise, her glow flickering, but her legs gave out. She cried out in frustration, slamming her hand against the stone floor. The mark flared, shaking the chamber with a surge of light. The soldiers staggered, shielding their eyes. Daniel grabbed her again, lifting her into his arms. He sprinted toward a crumbling stairway at the back of the chamber. Gunfire followed them, bullets smashing against stone, one grazing his side. He hissed in pain but didn't stop. His only focus was the faint light above, the promise of the surface. Burst out of the stairway into the open night. Cold air hit Daniel's face, the ruined city stretching before him under the pale moon. He stumbled across the rubble, his lungs burning, his arms screaming from the weight he carried. Behind them, the enemy poured out of the tunnel. Shouts filled the night. Gunfire cracked again. Daniel dove behind a broken wall, setting her down gently. He reloaded, but his hands shook from exhaustion and blood loss. His vision blurred for a moment. The alien woman reached for his face, her trembling fingers brushing his cheek. Her silver eyes softened. You should leave me. Save yourself. Daniel shook his head, his voice low and rough. Not happening. Tears glistened in her eyes. Why? Because I'd rather die with you than live knowing I abandoned you. Her breath caught. For the first time, her lips curved into something close to a real smile, fragile, broken, but real. The enemy advanced, their lights cutting across the ruins. Daniel raised his rifle once more, planting himself in front of her. The night was alive with danger, but for the first time, she whispered something different. Not fear, not despair. Don't let go. And Daniel, with blood dripping and lungs burning, whispered back without hesitation. Never. The chase had ended, but the escape was far from over. The ruins were silent again, but the silence was not peace. Smoke drifted from shattered stone, and the distant echo of enemy voices reminded Daniel that the hunt was far from over. Yet for a few moments, only their breaths filled the night, the ragged gasp of a soldier who had run too far, and the trembling sigh of a woman who had carried too much. Daniel leaned against the wall, his rifle still in his hands, though his arms ached from the weight of both the weapon and the woman he had carried. Blood trickled down his side, hot and sticky beneath his armor. He ignored it. His eyes stayed fixed on her. She sat closer, body half wrapped in the torn cloth, silver glow faintly flickering beneath her skin. The mark was calmer now, dimmed like embers after fire. Her hands clutched the fabric tightly, as if she feared losing control again. You're hurt, she whispered, her silver eyes moving to the cut on his arm and the wound on his side. Daniel gave a half smile, dry and tired. I've had worse. Her brows furrowed, her voice trembling. Why do you pretend? I can feel your pain. Daniel blinked. Feel it? She looked down at her hands. The mark connects when you touch me. When you carried me, I felt everything. Your fear, your anger, your stubbornness. She hesitated, her voice softer. Even your hope. The admission caught Daniel off guard. He had faced enemies with steel nerves, machines with no hearts, commanders with no mercy. But her words pierced deeper than bullets. Then you know why I won't leave you, he said firmly. Her eyes snapped up to meet his. For a long moment, she said nothing, as if fighting something inside herself. Then her lips parted, her voice breaking. No one has ever spoken for me before. Not once. I was born with their chains. Even when I escaped, I wasn't free. I thought I would die alone in those ruins. Daniel shifted closer, lowering his rifle. You're not alone now. Her chest rose sharply, her breath catching. The silver in her eyes softened, almost liquid, as if she didn't know whether to trust or break. She reached out slowly, her hand trembling as she touched his injured arm. The moment her skin brushed his, the mark pulsed faintly, not violent this time, but warm like a heartbeat shared between them. Daniel inhaled sharply at the sensation, but he didn't pull away. Instead, he let her hand rest there. Her voice was barely a whisper. I've never been touched without fear. Daniel's throat tightened. He wanted to speak, to say something that could shatter the weight pressing on her, but words felt too small. Instead, he simply let his hand cover hers, steady and warm. For the first time since he met her, she didn't flinch. The night stretched around them, quiet but alive with tension. Not the tension of battle, but of something neither of them had expected to find in this broken place. Finally, she pulled her hand back, clutching the cloth around her chest again. You shouldn't be near me. The mark, it reacts to you. If it grows stronger, it will destroy us both. Daniel leaned forward, his eyes steady. Or maybe it doesn't want to destroy us. Maybe it's reacting because it's finally found something worth protecting. Her silver eyes widened. You speak like you believe that. I do, he said without hesitation. The words hung heavy between them. She looked away, her hair falling across her face, hiding her expression. But Daniel caught the faint curve of her lips, a smile, fragile and fleeting, but real. The bond between them was no longer just survival. It was something else, fragile but growing, like fire hidden beneath ash. But peace never lasted long in a war zone. The distant rumble of engines reached them, shaking the ground faintly. Enemy transports, more soldiers. The hunt hadn't ended. The alien woman stiffened, fear flashing in her eyes. They're coming again. They won't stop. They'll burn this whole world to drag me back. Daniel rose slowly, wincing at his wounds, but refusing to falter. He reloaded his rifle, the click of metal sharp in the night. Then we make sure. They fail, her voice cracked. You'll die if you keep fighting for me. Daniel looked down at her, his eyes hard but steady. Maybe, but I'll die knowing I fought for the only thing that still matters. Her lips parted, her breath trembling. And what is that? You, he said simply. The single word hit her harder than any bullet. Her silver eyes glistened, her hands tightening on the cloth. For the first time, she didn't whisper about being impure, didn't call herself a weapon. For the first time, silence fell because she had no defense left against his truth. The engines grew louder. The night filled with the glow of approaching lights. Daniel crouched beside her again, his hand brushing her shoulder. The mark flared. Softly in response, but not violently. It glowed like a heartbeat in the dark. We move at dawn, he said firmly. But tonight, you're safe, with me. Her lips trembled, and for once, she didn't argue. The bond had been forged not in fire, not in blood, but in a moment of fragile trust under the shadow of war. And in that moment, Daniel knew. Whatever came next, he would not let her go. The first light of dawn touched the ruins, turning broken stone into pale gold. Smoke still lingered in the air, a reminder of the battle that never seemed to end. Daniel sat with his rifle across his knees, his back against the wall. Beside him, the alien woman stirred, her silver eyes opening slowly, glowing faintly in the early sun. She looked fragile, wrapped in torn cloth, her body trembling from exhaustion. Yet the mark on her chest still pulsed softly, alive like a second heart. Daniel met her gaze. Mourning. Her lips curved faintly. Do humans always greet death with such calm? He smirked, though his eyes stayed serious. Only when we know it's worth it. Before she could answer, the sound of engines roared across the horizon. Dust rose as transports closed in, dozens of enemy soldiers spilling from armored carriers. They surrounded the ruins like wolves circling prey. Alien woman's breath caught. They've come in force, too many. Daniel stood, loading his rifle, his jaw set. Doesn't matter. We fight. She rose shakily to her feet, clutching the cloth at her chest. No. If I unleash the mark, I can end them all. But I'll burn everything, even you. Daniel turned sharply to her, eyes locked on hers. Then don't, you're not a weapon. Tears shimmered in her silver eyes. You don't understand. The choice isn't mine. The mark, it wants release. And if I resist, they'll capture me. If they take me, they'll use me to end your world. Daniel's heart pounded. He saw it now. Her fear wasn't for herself. It was for him, for humanity, for everything. The commander's voice boomed across the ruins, cold and merciless. Hybrid, surrender, and we'll grant you a quick death. Resist, and the human dies screaming. The alien woman's body shook. She stepped forward, her silver eyes filled with sorrow. If I give myself up, you might live. If I unleash it, you'll die with me. Either way, I'm the reason your world ends. Daniel caught her wrist, pulling her back. His voice was steady, unshakable. Listen to me. You don't get to decide alone. Not anymore. Her lips parted, trembling. Then what would you choose, human? The question hung in the air, heavier than the army pressing in. Daniel's eyes burned with fire. I'd choose you. She gasped, her breath catching. Even if it kills you? Especially if it means saving you, he said. The mark on her chest flared suddenly, as if responding to his words. Energy rippled through the ruins, the soldiers stumbling as the ground shook. The commander shouted orders, but fear cracked in his voice. The alien woman clutched her chest, struggling. It's waking fully. I can't hold it anymore. Daniel stepped closer, his hands gripping her shoulders. Then don't hold it alone. Share it with me. Her silver eyes widened. You'll die. Then I die human. He cut her off, his voice sharp. But I won't let them take you. Her tears fell, glowing like molten silver. She pressed her forehead against his, whispering, You're mad. Daniel's lips curved into a faint smile. Maybe, but you're worth it. The bond between them ignited. The mark flared, not with chaos, but with balance. Instead of consuming her, the power flowed into him, their bodies linked, sharing the weight. Silver fire blazed across the ruins, wrapping around them both. The enemy fired, bullets dissolving in the light. Soldiers screamed as waves of energy hurled them back. The ground cracked, towers collapsing. The commander fell to his knees, shouting in fury, but his voice drowned in the storm. Daniel held her tighter. You're not impure. You're not a weapon. You're alive. And I choose you. Her voice broke through the storm, trembling but strong. Then I choose you too. The light exploded, silver fire consuming the battlefield. When the storm ended, silence fell. The enemy was gone, burned, broken, scattered like dust. Only Daniel and the alien woman remained, standing among the ruins, their bodies glowing faintly with the mark's fading fire. She collapsed against him, her voice weak but filled with something new hope. You should have run. Daniel held her close, his voice soft. Never. For the first time, she smiled fully. A smile not of sorrow, but of life. The dawn broke fully across the horizon, washing the world in gold. The choice had been made, not between life and death, but between fear and love. And as Daniel looked at her, fragile yet fierce, he knew his world hadn't ended, it had just begun.